Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back, I'm not going anywhere. Beast! Peekaboo! I see you because I'm YouTube famous now. Shimmy shimmy. The album, available in the fall of 2022. Dad. Hey, I was just thinking to myself, I laugh so hard when people say, it's been like 3 years now since I realized that the album is never coming out. The album is coming out, you guys. It's coming out in the winter of 2023. The album available in the winter of 2023. Dad, shimmy shimmy. It's coming, I promise. AF, rock on gold dust. Beast. Woman! Happy Monday. How are you guys doing today? Let's get this day started with a little when your lips are dry as mine, then it's Luna Beauty time. Let's get this day and this video started with a little lip gloss. You know, when you're having a rough day and you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, why not a little bit of Lunar Beauty Celine lip gloss? And speaking of Lunar Beauty lip gloss, I have to tell you guys, last night I caught up on The Surreal Life, which is on VH1, and 3 episodes are out so far. And if you didn't know, what you don't know is a lot, Manny Mua, is one of the housemates in this season of The Surreal Life. It's like Dennis Rodman is a huge part of the cast, and the housemates. Kim Coles from Living Single back in the day. Let's see who else. Tamar Braxton, who I love Tamar Braxton. Who else is on there? Stormy Daniels of the Donald Trump fame. Let's see who else is on there. CJ Perry, who was like a World Federated Wrestler, I guess. This singer, August, I'm going to mispronounce his name, I think, Alsina, he's on there. And, oh, Frankie Muniz, who was in Malcolm in the Middle. You guys, it is so good. And actually, I went in watching it thinking that Manny probably wouldn't be like a huge part of it because you had all of these like huge personalities. But Manny is kind of the one that brings them all together. And at any given time, from any, like, Tamar Braxton's like, I just love Manny so much. He's so honest, and he's sharing so much of his story, and Stormy Daniels says the same thing, and, like, there's this really, like, sweet, honest moment when Manny is in the kitchen, and he's with the other guys, and he is sharing, like, how difficult it was for him to come out when he was, like, in high school, or, like, later come out, but, like, how difficult it was for him when he was in high school, and he's just super honest on the show, and I am, like, in love with this season of The Surreal Life. It's fantastic, so you guys should go check it out. You really, really should. It's a fantastic cast, and it's really good, and a lot of, like, kind of, like, crazy stuff happens, and they kind of rally as a house around trying to take care of somebody. So, that's all I'll say. I don't want to spoil it for you. If you want spoilers for anything, go over to my review channel. When this season of The Surreal Life is done, I will do a full review over on my review channel. But if you didn't know, what you don't know is a lot. I am reviewing TV shows and movies over on my review channel. Yesterday, I reviewed the Netflix documentary Killer Sally, and today I will be reviewing this season of Unsolved Mysteries. I'm just having a blast over there reviewing movies and TV shows. If you have recommendations for what you'd like to see, put it in the comment section below. Today's video, we're going to talk about, yet again, Jeffree Star, Jaclyn Hill, Manny Mua. We're going to talk about Jeffree Star and his new release, and we're also going to talk about Shane Dawson, and Shane Dawson being kind of reliant on Jeffree Star and how the tables have turned, so to speak. That in the back in the day, that Jeffree Star really needed Shane Dawson to saint him, to repair his reputation, but now it appears that it is Shane Dawson that needs Jeffree Star. And I got a lot of comments about this and similar things, and also about Jeffree Star's newest release. Why am I holding this lip gloss? Because it's my comfort thing. It makes me so happy. But I got a lot of comments about that. And then I got some comments about some other things, so I thought, well, I'll just take those comments and I'll address them and turn them into a video. And I have to tell you, it was interesting because I just got done watching a Jeffree Star video where he is talking about his newest release, Psychedelic Circus. which will be released on November 11th. And it was, I mean, a typical Jeffree Star release video where he, you know, swatches his arm and shows all the colors. Well, he swatches his assistant, Maddie's arm and his arm, and shows all the colors and all this kind of stuff. But I was thinking to myself, you know, it's really interesting, like, I've been doing drama commentary now for what I started in 2016, September 1st. So I've been doing it for 6+ years at this point. And, is it 6+ years? 16, 17, 18. 6 years. I don't have my glasses on. I can't do math. But I've been doing it. I have my glasses right here, so I couldn't put them on. But you know when you're 50 years old and you're counting on your finger, something's wrong. But listen, Linda, okay? But I was thinking to myself, like, you know, back in the day, back in like my first year or two, I could have just done a video and called the video like Jeffree Star releases new palette, and it would have got like 30,000 views because people were so interested in A, the beauty community, B, Jeffree Star, C, the world of the beauty community and the beauty gurus at that time. But I just don't think that people are really that interested anymore. And you know, it was really interesting to me because Jeffree Star, his newest video, was trending at number 3 on the trending thing. Now, if you didn't watch my video a couple days ago where I talked about that I had looked into figuring out how videos trend, and the way that videos trend, I think there's this misconception that like, oh, if you have like the fastest growing video in the world, that all of a sudden it's going to be on the trending page, right? That's not necessarily the case. There's a lot of factors that go into how a video trends. One of those factors is, how have your videos done in the past, okay? Well, Jeffree Star is somebody that has a lot of videos that are sitting at 10 million views, 20 million views, even more, right? And that he is somebody that garnered a lot of views right out of the gate in the past. So you look at that, and then you look at how many people are watching your video, like I said, right out of the gate, and then it kind of like puts you up there. What was interesting to me in looking at the trending page of Jeffree Star's video, hold on a second, let me get to this, is that when you look at the videos that are trending, okay, the #1 trending video from a day ago is the Alabama Crimson Tide versus the LSU Tigers game. Okay, and this is on ESPN College Football Channel. That was the #1 video that was trending. The #2 video that was trending was Drake and 21 Savage performing on BS Live on Saturday Night Live. That was the #2 video that was trending. Sitting at and that was at 1.8 million views. Sitting at #3 in the last 24 hours, Psychedelic Circus Palette and Collection Reveal. So it's very interesting to me that Jeffree Star is still trending so high up. And so, to be honest, when people want to brag and say, oh, well, he's still trending, like Jeffree Star still pulls a lot of clout, it really doesn't have anything to do with what his videos are doing today. In fact, his video right now is sitting at, hold on a second, his video right now, is sitting at 426,000 views. But that's not a highly viewed video for Jeffree Star, especially for a launch of something that he has done. I mean, it's just, he's not pulling views the way that he used to in the past. Most YouTubers aren't, but Jeffree Star really isn't pulling views the way that he did in the past, which means that him being on the trending page, which is still great, congratulations, Jeffree, but him being on the trending page really is reliant on his past, you know? And it's interesting to me in watching this new series come out with Shane Dawson, and seeing all these people say that now Shane Dawson is reliant on Jeffree Star and whatever, that how much both of them are really playing to their past, some degree, right? And what's interesting to me about that is when people say that they've changed so much, yet they're still so reliant on their past. Because if Jeffree Star didn't have videos from 2-3 years ago, when he was highly problematic, okay, and was all stirred up in drama, and the drama was helping him get these views, if he wasn't, like, have those videos that were sitting at 20 million views, he wouldn't be on the trending page today. Nobody would care about a 400,000 viewed video about a launch of a palette when he literally... I didn't even look on here, but I wanted to see when the launch of the wedding palette was, because it feels like it was just not too long ago. Hold on a second. 2 months ago, he launched another palette. So 2 months ago, he launched the wedding palette, the wedding collection palette. 2 months later, and this one's more expensive than the other one because instead of 18 pans that he usually has, this one has 21. So it's $60 instead of $52, which, I mean, it's cost effective because he's got more pans, more eyeshadow pans in this palette. You know, just from an outsider's view, I'm being completely objective about this, whatever. The Jeffree Star fans, and I think Jeffree Star knows this, are like eating this palette up. It is extremely colorful. It's all kinds of bright colors, shimmer colors, things like that. It's a beautiful palette. It really is. It's a cool concept. You know, he's got new mirrors. He's like really highly playing off of the whole idea of like mushrooms and whatever. The thing that's interesting to me is, like, all these people are talking about, like, what genius talent it is, but it's kind of two ideas mixed together. It's kind of like this whole, like, psychedelic mushroom kind of, like, trippy fantasy played up with, like, the circus and, like, clowns and things like that. So that's what came out. Oh, by the way, for all of you out there that have been dying to get your hands on some Jaclyn Cosmetics, or not Jaclyn Cosmetics, but all of you out there that have been dying to get your hands on Jaclyn Hill Morphe makeup, okay, it's 50% off at Morphe. Morphe is clearance wrapped all of Jaclyn Hill's cosmetics, so you can go over to, well, you could go to the Marshalls or the TJ Maxx, or maybe even the dollar store, the Dollar General. I don't know, but I've heard rumors, okay, that you can go over to the TJ Maxx and you can get it in the clearance bin. Okay, I've heard, I don't know, but I have heard, okay. So anyway, but you don't even have to do all that. You can just get online and go over to Morphe.com. And on Morphe, you can get all the Jaclyn Hill cosmetics that you want for 50% off. It still won't get you one of those pajama sets for $85 or a blanket for $140. But she don't care at this point because she's already bought her Chanel purse and her new car. So she's got her money anyway. She don't really care about all that. But anyway, so I, of course, have been doing all these videos about Shane and Jeffree in this new series that's coming out. It's coming out tomorrow. Yes, I will be doing a response to the series. It depends on, he says it'll be out at 2 o'clock, but sometimes it's, with editing and things like that. Sometimes the editing gets long. So we don't know necessarily if it'll be right out. If it is right out at 2 o'clock, well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Tomorrow's a busy day for me. So if it's not out, if my response to it isn't out tomorrow, it will be out on Wednesday. But anyway, I got some comments on my video, and I thought that this was rather interesting, some of these comments that I got. So let me read you the first comment, okay? The first comment says, I just got here, but I hope you eventually talk about how Jeffree named his next palette Circus, of all things. And when I read this comment, I hadn't gone in. There were like 8 or 9 replies to it. I hadn't gone in and looked at the replies yet, right? But I was like, oh, I hadn't even, like, how did this, like, miss me? Like, I didn't even think about this, right? On the heels of talking so much about the fact that, oh my God, my neighbor dog is out. On the heels of the fact that I had been talking about, when Shane Dawson left the beauty community, I didn't even know he was ever really part of the community. I just knew he put out a palette. I didn't realize Shane Dawson was part of the beauty community and he was a beauty. I guess if you play with makeup and you make, $8 million off of a palette, that you're part of the beauty community. I guess that's like the rite of passage. But anyway, so he said he wasn't going to be part of the, and remember it was called Welcome to the Circus, and he was leaving the circus and all that kind of stuff, right? So a lot of people think it's very interesting that Shane and Jeffree are getting ready to do this new series together, okay, where they're going to talk about the canceled world of Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson. And Jeffree Star comes out and he does this palette that's called Psychedelic Circus, okay? And people are like, well, is he referencing? It's interesting, okay? It's interesting because I think what a lot of people will say is, now you know that it takes like a year or two to put out a palette and go in there and do the colors and the packaging. So Shane, since Jeffree would have had to be thinking about this like a year ago and whatever, well, he could have been. Shane Dawson's been putting this series together for almost 3 years at this point, right? 2.5 years. So he's been filming stuff and whatever. So the reality is that do you hear my neighbor dog? Well, now he doesn't bark. But anyway, so the reality is that Jeffree could have been thinking about this and whatever, and he and Shane could have been working on this new series they knew he was going to put out. I think it's kind of a coincidence. I don't know. Do I think that he would play it up? Sure. When I watched the launch video, there were two things that were interesting to me. The first one was that Jeffree made some comment in there about how this will be the last kind of big release of 2022. Now, what was interesting to me about this is that there are so many people that are speculating that he and Shane Dawson are going to put out a palette together. I've even speculated about it, right? And I've said that I wouldn't be surprised if they did, and I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. So, Jeffree coming out in a video and saying that this will be the last big release. But what's interesting is, if you watch when he says it, at kind of like the beginning to the halfway part of the video, towards the end of the video, he says, of course there will be the holiday. And I'm like, so is there going to be a holiday collection release as well? Or is this the last release of 2022? And he kind of like corrects himself a little bit and says something about this being like the last colorful release of 2022. I didn't really and I kind of like rewound it and watched it a little bit, but like I couldn't really catch really what he was saying. And so I was kind of confused by all of that. But that was the first thing that was interesting to me. The second thing to me was when he was talking about why he chose the name Circus. And he was talking about how the last few years have been very, very difficult for him. And that, you know, this is kind of like he's kind of come back from all of that. And like basically talking about cancellation or just really like struggling on social media and struggling with his career and like moving to, you know, Wyoming and things like that. And he said in there that, like, for him, like, returning kind of, like, to this psychedelic circus is kind of, like, getting the colors back in his life and, you know, being happy again and things like that. And I thought, okay, this is interesting. This is either going to play out in the series, and they're going to talk about this, and he's kind of, like, prefacing this for the series, or it will have absolutely nothing to do with the series, or he's just kind of, like, riding the coattails of people wondering about this, right? Because I thought that was interesting that he talked about this in the video and then said, oh, because he doesn't really ever explain, like, why he, you know, does all this. So that was interesting to me. But when you read the comments underneath here, the replies to this is when it gets good. So this person said, I just got here, but I hope you eventually talk about how Jeffree named his palette, his next palette, Circus, of all things. And this person responds and says, why is that an issue? And somebody said, probably because of what Shane said, calling the beauty community the circus. And this person responds and says, it's just ironic because of how Shane called the makeup community a circus during the last Dramageddon. Maybe it's not on purpose, but I wonder. And then this person said, oh, dust, sorry, stoner moment. Get it, girl. Thank you for explaining it nicely. And then this person says, honestly, that's a great observation. I didn't even connect it. If it's not on purpose, it's definitely subconscious, especially since the documentary just dropped and people are being reminded of Shane's comments when he left the beauty community. The concept of leaving a community you weren't even a part of anyways bugged me. He was a visitor making a docuseries type thing until he had to get involved and jump in the mix. I was hoping the series would be mainly on how they get the perfect formula, how and where they get the pigment colors, what it's like competing with people you know personally, how to stay on trend in a constantly morphing environment. SHI to it like that is what I was wanting. I mean, it was cute that it was cute and all, and I'm glad he got paid, but if he would have put that type of docuseries out, it could have opened up an entirely new style of content for him, and people probably would have cared less about his past being brought back up, because he would have been obviously evolving, in my opinion, of course. And this person said, I totally agree. I wish it had actually been more in-depth about the process rather than it turning into a self-promotion. And here he is doing it all over again. He is obviously not evolved as a person. Not my comments, theirs, okay? So, and there were a lot of comments like that, you guys, on in the comment sections of my video. And I was really, you know, kind of surprised about that. Now, I have to say, you know, Jeffree Star knows that Shane Dawson called the beauty community a circus. He knows that, all right? I mean, it was a huge deal. There were memes. People were talking about it. I talked about it. Every drama channel was talking about it. Drama channels had circus and clowns and things in their thumbnails of their videos. I mean, it was not like this was something that was, I mean, Shane Dawson sat down and calculated, wrote out this, I don't know, 10-paragraph statement about leaving the beauty community and that he was done with it and all this kind of stuff. Okay, so Jeffree Star knows that Shane Dawson referred to it as a circus. So for him to come out and call something a circus when he and Shane Dawson are getting ready to throw this series out there, I don't know, like, is it a coincidence? Like, it just seems so weird to me. And this is where, like, I say that they are very calculated and manipulative in what they do. Or is it just, like, getting people hyped up because then people are going to want to buy Jeffree's palette and people are going to want to do this and people are going to want to do that. I don't know. I really don't know. There was another comment on here, and I got several comments actually about this, talking about Jeffree Star's TikTok and Shane Dawson really needing Jeffree Star at this point. And I thought that this was an interesting kind of a point of commentary in discussing this. And this comment says, to be honest, Peter, the massive deleting comments is 100% I'm convinced, because Jeffree is actually doing very well for himself on TikTok, which he is. And on TikTok, there aren't linked videos letting everyone know of all of his BS and problematic crap. So, to be honest, at this point, Shane needs Jeffree more than the last time, whereas vice versa. Guarantee that's why. And it's interesting, you know, like Jeffree Star, I think, has done somewhat of a good job in the last 6 months to a year of kind of staying out of drama, not reminding people of drama, just kind of staying on the ranch and doing his own thing. I mean, the biggest drama that he's gotten into is the Yakety Yak Farm, Don't Talk Back, and people really being like, oh, were they pets, or are you killing your yaks, and things like that. Like, that's really been the deepest drama that he's got into, and there's a lot of people out there, fans and not fans, that are defending him about farming and things like that, right? So, he's really not gotten into a lot of drama in the last year. Did you guys hear me trying to talk over this dog in the backyard? And every time I stop, he stops barking. Oh, shut up! But anyway, he's done a pretty good job of staying out of drama in the last year. But like Shane, for the life of him, no matter what he does, every move he makes, people bring up the past. People bring up the past. People bring up the past, right? They bring up the past from 10 years ago. You know, like one of the comments that I get regularly on videos that I talk about when I talk about Shane Dawson is people will say, that was from 10 years ago. That was from 8 years ago. That was from 10 years ago. I don't know if the people that leave those comments watch my entire videos from beginning to end, or if they just watch 5 minutes and leave a comment, but I rarely talk about the things from 10 years ago with Shane Dawson. I don't. I am a believer in life that people can change. I am a believer that with the correct work, and I hope this for people, I hope it for Shane Dawson. You know, I don't want Shane Dawson as a human being to continue to live in the same misery and hatred that he lived in and just all of that kind of stuff and think that what he was doing was okay. I don't want him to live that way. I don't want myself to live that way. I don't want you guys to live that way. I do believe that people can change over time, right? And I also think that, like, in talking about the drama of Shane Dawson, I think let's talk about what's going on today. Like, and we've talked it to death of what happened 10 years ago. But for me, the issue is when people say Shane Dawson has changed as a person, and I'm like, I'm giving you examples of how he hasn't changed as a person, okay? He's still making the same self-deprecating jokes. He's still making inappropriate sexual jokes. He's making sexual jokes towards his cameraman. That's an employee of his. He gave Jeffree Smith a platform. You know, I mean, these are all things that are proving that Shane Dawson hasn't changed as a person. These are things that just occurred in the last month, you guys. We don't need to talk about 10 years ago, right? So, Shane Dawson is really struggling moving away from this cancellation idea. And the thing is that Shane Dawson was really, I believe, because he is so been out of shape with the fact that he got canceled, I think he is still so upset that he got canceled and he doesn't think that it was right or whatever. I'm not a believer in cancel culture. You watch who you want to watch. I think the video that he put out the other day is sitting at 3 or 4 million views. Enough people are watching Shane Dawson. Enough people will always watch Shane Dawson that he'll be able to pay his bills. Okay? So do I think that he's ever going to get canceled? Necessarily, no. Right? So, you know, interestingly enough, like this whole idea that he's very upset about it, but like, you know, if he had done the work and he could sit down and explain to people like, wow, like, I just didn't realize at the time what I was doing. And then you would see, based on his behavior, that he didn't make the same kind of jokes. You know, like somebody said to me on the comment sections, and it's somebody that is such a lover of Shane Dawson. Well, there are actually several comments that I got. And I've said this on here, and I'm just saying this for your understanding and your well-being, okay? That when you leave a comment on my video or any YouTuber's videos, and you're somebody that leaves a lot of comments, let's just say if you're somebody that loves, let's just pick somebody, Jenna Marbles, for example, okay? And I'm a Jenna Marbles commentary channel. Every comment that you leave that about Jenna, I can see, like I can go in to your profile and I can see every comment that you've left on any of my videos, right? So I can see that there's a consistent pattern that you're defending this person, which is totally fine, right? But to me as a person, it kind of diminishes the value of what you're saying when you aren't being open-minded to the discussion that we're having, right? And I noticed that there was this person that leaves a lot of Shane defend comments, right? And they said, oh, come on. I was talking about the cameraman. I was talking about Chris. And they said, they're just jokes. You guys, we live in 2022, you know, and there were a lot of comments that also said, if Chris was a woman and these jokes were being made, this would not be okay, you know? And so the fact that Chris identifies as a gay man, and he has a gay male employer or bisexual employer that is making sexual jokes about getting hard and all this stuff. I mean, like on camera, you guys, and you're telling me that you think that this person has changed as a person? Like seriously, okay? If Shane Dawson had really changed as a person, we would no longer see those jokes, okay? Because those jokes 10 years ago, you know, people want to make these excuses and say, well, 10 years ago, we didn't know that those things are funny. Well, we do today. We do today. And Shane Dawson wouldn't be making those same jokes. But Shane Dawson hasn't changed as a person. That's why we're still seeing those same jokes, you know? And he doesn't think that there's anything wrong with that humor is also the thing, right? So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the rest of the series. And does Shane Dawson need Jeffree Star? And is that why Shane Dawson actually did this series with Jeffree Star? Because in return now, you know, it's really that, you know, and we've all been looking at this and being like, why are you doing another video with Jeffree Star, blah, 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 when in reality what it is that Shane needs Jeffree this time. So, who knows? Let me know what you think about all of that in the comment section below. I'd also be interested to know how many of you will be buying any of the Jeffree Star stuff, the Psychedelic Circus palette, and mirrors, and all that kind of stuff, the bags, and anyway, let me know what you think about all that, and the spray with the really cool component in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I would have preferred if he had put out an entire collection called The Lonely Doll. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.